This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 165.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 165, and today's special guest is Renee Wang, the CEO and founder of CastBox.fm. CastBox allows you to search and find the most relevant podcast content via an audio search. If you like podcasts, this is a really cool tool, and it's a very special episode, so enjoy today's show. Hi, Renee, and welcome to the Extra Paycheck Podcast.
Thank you, Alex, for having me here.
Please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what is that you do as a business.
Okay. Hi, I'm Renee. I'm CEO and founder of CastBox. We are a podcast platform that can enable everyone to easily enjoy, find, access the spoken audio content.
Okay, so that sounds good. I think that's a very good and short description, but can you elaborate a little bit more on what exactly that platform does?
Okay. Actually, the CastBox, now we have more than 50 million users on Android who are using CastBox as their podcast app. And it's a very easy to use and support multi languages. And we have kind of like personalized recommendation on audio content. And we can do in-audio search, which means you can search specific keywords, which when they mention in every single minute or second inside the audio, and we can help the user direct into that audio. So, and we support 70 languages and have like users from 135 countries. It's generally is a global-based podcast app.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, and I still want to dig a little bit deeper. Like, can you give us an example of how someone will find something, or give us an example of what they will search for and what they will find as a result?
Okay. So I take an example. I mean, if you search blockchain, which is a very popular keyword recently, and you can definitely find a lot of podcasts mention about blockchain in the title or in the description on the channel or on the episode. Mm-hmm. But, for example, like about, take Tim Ferriss also mentioned about a blockchain, but not in their, channel nor in their description, but inside the audio when they mention about the keywords of that thing. So when you search blockchain, and CastBox will find search inside the audio and tell you that, I mean, the recent episode when Tim Ferriss mentioned about this keywords maybe in the 30 minutes or 5 seconds of which episode. And when user click the search result, they can go directly into the exactly minute and second when the keyword was mentioned in the sentence. So it's kind of like a Google search engine, but for all the audio content.
Okay, now with that example, that sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we try to actually, open the Pandora box of audio because, it's kind of like like black box. You never know what's inside unless you listen to them. So what we want to help is help users to find find the content that may interest them, easily, and they can enjoy the content directly, without any, without more efforts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. And, to be honest, until I heard of CastBox, I didn't know that was really possible or doable, actually.
Oh, actually, to be honest, it also take the team members more than like 1 year to find a solution on that part. And we launched that in audio search nearly in the middle of 2017. Actually take us like 1.5 years to find a solution. It's not the perfect solution now because we not index all the audio. So far we only index the top ones, but we try to make sure, make sure we can make the function bigger and, stronger, and to make sure the users can really enjoy what exactly they want. And besides that, actually, besides the in-audio search, we also try to improve our recommendation algorithm and try to kind of like increase the way people, finding the best content. So the whole focus is, of CastBox, they try to be the heart of the audio revolution. To try to make it happen and try to make it happen soon.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I wish that for you.
Thank you.
And Renee, how did you get the idea of actually starting CastBox?
Yeah, actually, it was about 3 years ago. Actually, that time I was working for Google, and I was based in Japan. And when in Tokyo, every people commuted in for work for more than 1 hour each way. And during my daily commute, I always spend half of the time just download the MP3 audio files, both in English or in Japanese or in Chinese, and try to download those MP3 and combine them into one centralized location. Because I always spend a lot of time to trying to find what exactly what I want to hear, and I spend like several seconds to hear is that exactly the episode I want. And so at that time I was looking for a good podcast app that can help me to easily to use and support multi devices, support multiple languages with the personalized recommendation and even the in-audio search, function. But I couldn't find one. So I asked my friend but no one can also recommend one but they all want the same thing I was looking for. So that's, I think at that point, I think, okay, if there's not only my need, and why not? I mean, I think it may be a kind of business opportunity. So that's why I decided to leave Google at that time. And I read the first version of CastBox on my own. So, and read the code for my own app, and then begin, to initially provide this solution for my own needs, but quickly, evolved into this CastBox app.
And now CastBox is your main business. This is where you spend most of your time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, now we have 50 team members, who are working on CastBox, and some of them based in China with background, engineering background, and some of the team members are based in Palo Alto and San Francisco. And we also have some team members based in Hong Kong and Korea, because as I mentioned, we support multiple languages. So we have like people in different countries to support different languages, but we centralize the engineer team in China. Yeah, this is the current structure. And all those 50 people are working on CastBox.
Wow, that's really awesome. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, because it's a little hard, if you really try to improve the personalized recommendation, improving the in-audio search, and also the basic function itself is is still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And Renee, what's interesting here? So, that's what a lot of people have a problem with. So you had, you were working at Google, which is, just to begin with, when somebody says that, usually people are like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So, I could only imagine that your salary was good enough, and it's a job that's usually pretty secure, with a lot of possibilities for the future. Yet you decided to, give up this safe thing, as we call it, and start a business of your own. And, it's an app idea. And let's be honest, we all have app ideas. Or most of us have had an app idea that we never, did anything with. And that's one of the reasons, because it costs money and you never really know if this app is going to pick up and going to be popular. So how did you take that leap from working, having a job, to actually starting a business without being scared that that could be the end of it all?
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, as you said, I'm not only contribute my time and opportunity cost into CastBox. I also sold my house and using the money, when selling the house and self-funded the company as a first round. I mean, for the seed round. So actually, it was a big investment, both the time, opportunity cost and the money.
Wow.
So but actually back to 3 years ago, I didn't think too much. I just thought, it's a business opportunity there, because how to say that? I mean, it was a really good salary when I worked for Google Japan, and I got a lot of promotions inside and a lot of bonus, but I just feel like it's too safe for me. I mean, but I don't like the way. I mean, I don't like the way I can predict. Oh, this is like 2 years ago I can be like this, and 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years later I can be like this, and 5 years later I can be like this, and I mean, for me I really appreciate like life with a lot of challenge, but it's also a lot of opportunities to grow myself. So, for example, to be honest, before Google, I also work as an engineer, Android developer for a startup, and I saw the startup was growing very quick, and then sold by Alibaba, which is a public company in China.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left that, and then I joined Google. So you can see that I can compare between the startup and as well as the big companies. You can see, in startup, there are a lot of opportunities. There were a lot of like challenge, but a lot of like, opportunity. You can be a better version of yourself. But in big company, it's more safe there, and you can predict every single day. I mean, within big companies, but I prefer the first one. So I mean, for me, it's just like go back to the unsecured, but more exciting, or more more exciting, but more like a new venture. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Renee. And selling your house to start a business, that's a huge step, and I applaud you for that.
Because I mean, most people feel that, I mean, it's a big move to sell the house and using all the money to fund a startup. But for me, it's not only like a quick decision. I mean, just like I want to do this. What is the best way? The quickest way I can finish this goal, because at that time I do need some money to like find some team members and do some kind of like user acquisition and also like finding an office, etc. So by that time I was just go back to China from Japan, and I have been out of China for a long time because I have been working for Google in Dublin, in Japan, and I haven't been back for a long time. I didn't know any investors in the country. So I mean, the quickest way for solution for me is selling the house is the quickest and the easiest way I can find. So that is only my solution to solve the problem. So for me it's not selling the house is kind of a big decision, but only like there is a problem, where is the best solution, and it's like thinking in that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And so Renee, you from this idea you started making the actual app. It's up and running. How did you get your initial users to that app? How did you acquire the first users that actually started using CastBox?
Yeah, actually we do a lot of AISO at the beginning, because for me, I'm also I listen to your podcast because you mentioned about SEO, about how to do the marketing. For me at that time, we put a lot of efforts and bandwidth on AISO. So we begin with Android, because for iOS user, they have their own pre-install iTunes podcast. And when people change their iPhone to Android phone, they will look for a podcast app because it's their original habit. But when they look for the Google Play, there is no by default or pre-install podcast app.
Mm-hmm.
So when people search on Google Play for podcast, you can see our podcast go to the very beginning, because we learn a lot, how to optimize the title, optimize the description, optimize the logo, the icon, and optimize the screenshot to make sure the user, search for podcast, we can jump to the first of the result, as well as we can make sure the conversion rate from they see the page until they download the page is very high. Make sure the CTR, the conversion rate is higher, and make sure when user download the app, they give us a very high rating. So if we do this, we get a lot of users, because the users' needs, is very solid. So, this is the first time we got a user acquisition. And the second step, we use some Google AdWords, but still targeting very core users. We only targeting the users when they search podcast, or when they're looking for kind of like spoken audio, to kill time, or to try to kill their time when they drive, when they commute, when they do chores. And for those users, when they are looking for exactly like audiobooks or podcasts or things to listen, or like spoken audio, and we try to buy keywords like that and make this, these people be our second part of user. And because the apps itself is quite good, and if you can try CastBox, it's a very easy to use podcast app, and people began to share with their friends, and using this kind of word of mouth, we get like the third group of users. And nowadays, that was the third step. And for the fourth step, now we are doing original content. So if you you download CastBox in our first screen, we have a lot of original CastBox. And for this, CastBox channels, for these channels, not only published on CastBox, but we also published on some other platform, some other like iTunes podcast and third-party podcast app. But those shows are very well-produced show. So when users, listen to this show or hooked by this show, and this show also mentioned, you can try us, listen to us or subscribe to us on CastBox. So that is like the fourth step we acquired users.
Oh, that's really awesome. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So I hope it can be helpful for other people who may consider doing kind of user acquisition or doing kind of like ASO. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Since I've never worked with apps, I didn't know you could actually do SEO for the app within, within places like Apple Store and Google Play Store. Besides putting your keyword or your brand name in the title and maybe description, I didn't think there was, even at that, I thought it was more relevant to just have reviews, like the most reviews you have, the better you rank.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the only thing pretty much.
Actually, the rating and those things you mentioned are also very important. And beyond that, they are like kind of like a lot of ASO, but all these things, it's legal. So it's kind of like you just, there's a lot of like ASO tools, like ASO 100. You can search a lot of, which kind of keyword, will be popular inside the Google Play or inside Apple Store. And for this specific keyword, not only podcast, but some relevant keywords, you can say, like podcast player or podcast APP, which is not podcast itself, but a relevant keyword. They can also list which keywords, are the most or the high potential user may search, or the amount of search is higher. And you can also include those things inside your title or your description. But it's not legal to kind of like put all the keywords in one sentence, like keywords, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That was not good. It will be shut down by Google Play or App Store. But what you can do is try to make the keywords that users are searching more, to put more, kind of like SEO. If you put these keywords on title or on H1 or on like the meta, you're getting more possibility, to show into the result. Yeah, it's actually the same philosophy but in the backend, but still, I mean, Apple Store, Google Play has their own algorithm, so you can always do a lot of A/B tests. And even for example, like Google Play, at the Google Play console, they even have certain tool to help you to do the ASO. They have kind of like they call it a test. So A/B test. You can change your icon from choose your icon from 4 options, and they can help you to do the A/B test between all the 4 icons to find the best icon has the highest conversion rate. So for us, from the first day until today, we continually to do the A/B test on the icon or on the screenshot to try to find the best one, or trying to find a better one has higher say conversion rate. And if your conversion rate is high, it will also increase the search result. Just like your website. I mean, if you're doing SEO, the CTR is higher, the most possibility you go to higher rank in the search result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I hope it will be helpful if like some people are doing apps or some people are helping people doing ASO as well as SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Renee, so, the app itself is free.
Yeah.
And that's the eternal question. How do you guys make money out of it?
Yeah. At current stage, I mean, we are not has a very big, pressure on making money because we already invest more than $30 million, into our background with the top investors because, our data so far is very positive and investors are also very, positive on the future of the spoken audio. And so current state, we try to make sure, as I mentioned, we are doing a lot of spoken, original content, and we try to make our partners making more money, and then they can contribute more on the spoken audio economy. But in the coming, and we may considering provide paid content and paid subscription as well as audio advertisement. Because as I said, I used to work for Google advertisement team for a long time, and all the Google, they are focusing on display ads, and they're also doing some video ads, but there is no good solution for the audio advertisement, including how to target users for audio ads and how to tracking the result for audio ads. So, in maybe later this year or maybe at the early of next year, we try to provide kind of like advertisement platform, but only for audio ads. So this would be also one of our monetization solution. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, because most actually for CastBox, we have a lot of some of the partners. A lot of team members that came from Google or some other big companies with advertisement background, including Facebook, including Ali, which is also from the Ali advertisement team. So that's why I think we have really strong understanding about this part. And but for current stage, for the coming quarter or we are not doing a lot of things, and we are still trying to working more closely with podcasters to try to understand how we can help and how we can contribute together to make this spoken audio even more like a boom.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, awesome. That sounds great. All right, Renee. So I had a question for you, more from the podcaster, someone who has a podcast. Is there anything I can do to, let's say, get better rankings or get more people finding me on actual CastBox?
Yeah, actually, so far, what we are trying to do, and actually just one hour ago, I told our backend engineer to try to list your app, list your channel into the in-audio search pool. So maybe from tomorrow, and when people search inside search any keywords, they will look inside your audio and to find, if this show and mention those keywords and maybe interested by those, maybe like interesting for those users. And in the meantime, and you can try. I mean, I can connect you with our editors, and they can help to review your episode and put your episode inside the playlist or editorial choice, and try to understand like what kind of like users may like your content, and they can try to recommend those to your users. And in the meantime, the third way is that we have a common comment function inside the audio, inside the CastBox, and we try to encourage people to comment or leave comments for your show, and we encourage podcasters to directly interact with those users, try to learn from them, understand their feedback, and try to improve their channels according to the feedback they get from those users. And I think all these ways can help you to improve the show and to try to provide more content that users may like. And I think this is like the three ways I'm thinking about how to make our podcast more popular inside the CastBox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, actually I listened to your show and continue this week. I mean, it's very interesting. A lot of, and also I listened to your show last week. You interview a photographer, and I said, okay, this show, when they mention about how they think about startup, think about entrepreneurship, I think they also give a lot of interesting point. And also, I think this topic would be interesting to those users. I mean, for example, for these people who also subscribe the kind of like a startup and by Gimlet and like EOF you mentioned, and I think they are the same audience group. So that's why I think it will be also very helpful for them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually, because what I was doing, I was looking for some keywords within CastBox, right?
Yeah.
And I was really surprised and happy, I guess, because I did find my show in the top 20, top 25 for keywords that are usually not mentioned in the description or the title of the podcast or of that specific show episode. However, they're very important keywords, and I'm happy that I could find my own show ranking, well, not too bad actually for those main keywords. That's really cool.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I mentioned like 1 hour ago, I asked our engineer to list your show. So if you search, for example, actual podcast, if you search the audio key result, I mean, not the channel result, you can see when the actual podcast mentioned inside your podcast, I mean, they will go to the direct like a second or minute and inside the episode. So it's also it's already working there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what we want to try to do. We want really make your great content. I mean, at least, searchable, or like we can deliver your content to the users. So this is the first step. And the second step, we can listen more from the users, what's their real want and how they suggest to improve the show. And then maybe we can, grow better, with all this, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, why I think a comment, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why I think comment is very important. Because, I mean, for CastBox, we receive hundreds of feedback from the users every day. If you search out, I mean, most of the users are from Android platform because our iOS version just launched recently, and most 15 million users are from Android, from Google Play. And for every single feedback we received, both from Google Play or from our support email, every single feedback we respond. and we will take the key function user want. Write down the keywords when the keywords or the key functions user are asking, and then we try to deliver the function as soon as possible using our prioritized feature list. So I mean today, if we scroll from 0 to today, most of the contributions I think we have to say it's for the users. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we mention some keywords in this very episode, something like the best way to listen to podcasts, or the best podcast app in the world, the best podcast app for Android, is there a chance that, I guess there is a chance, that's the whole point, that in the future somebody's gonna look for that keyword phrase and they're gonna stumble upon this very episode and they're gonna discover the CastBox?
Okay. So it's an interesting question. You mean inside the CastBox, or like, for example, you are looking for Google or like some outside, like any website? You're searching these keywords for inside the CastBox or like from Google?
Well, you're making a good point. Inside of a CastBox, but my point is kind of that I think that this kind of search that we're talking about, it's going to be more available, I think, in other places eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going with that, but yeah, because if somebody searches for that keyword phrase within CastBox, then obviously they already know what CastBox is.
Yeah. Is your question, regarding to semantic understanding or like,
yeah, I guess, yes.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, we are not doing semantic, understanding the exact keywords you are mentioned to. For example, like, when you are searching podcast app inside CastBox, we will not show you, podcast app means CastBox. We only tell you, this episode mentioned about the podcast app. These two keywords inside the episode.
Yeah.
So we are not, we haven't done any semantic understanding at the current stage, but that's definitely what we want to do in the future. But it takes longer time, so you have to have more AI, like artificial intelligence, to achieve that goal. But I think my understanding about spoken audio, spoken audio is about the information. It's not only about like the audio, it's about the information. So if we can better improve our semantic understanding to understand what's your real want, and we provide the content that has the real information that can match your query, match your request, that will be a better experience. And from my understanding of the audio industry, to be honest, I think audio is the first version when people try to connect with the information. If we think about long time ago, even there's no, we have language at the very beginning, but we do not have kind of like the characteristics or the written language at the very beginning. So audio is the only way when people communicate with each other. Audio is the only method when we try to receive information or deliver information or try to share information. So, but now we have like a written language, written character, and then we have video, we have more other rich media, like pictures or video, other rich media, channels, and audio kind of like become a very, a very, small channel when people want to deliver some message, when people want to access information.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can really do better on the search, on the, understanding what you want and understanding what we can offer inside the audio, I think the audio can be dominant again. So, this is my how to say that, my way see the audio in the future, especially when all those devices becoming, when I mean devices, I mean the car connectivity devices. I mean all the speakers. I mean all the smart home devices. When all those devices with all the very smart CPU, very smart system, but without screen, audio will be back again. As far as they can communicate with the users who are using them. And this is the first reason. The second reason, you can see the AI and the NLP is growing very well. The NLP means natural language process. AI stands for artificial intelligence. Those AI and NLP is growing very quickly recent years, which means they can provide a very strong infrastructure. For those people who are trying to solve the problem I just mentioned. And so this is like the second possibility. The third possibility is about you can see the network is getting better, especially 5G is coming next year. So if 5G is coming, so the data will be not a big problem for your smart devices, for your smartphone or other devices. And it's easier for people to download an MP3 other than only text. It's cheaper and much quicker.
Really bright future for spoken. That makes a lot of sense. And you see, I think this is one of the reasons people are falling for these, as you mentioned, smart home devices, right? Because they just have to say something and things happen. People don't even want to touch your remote control anymore. Why would you touch your remote control when you can just say a few words and you're watching whatever that you want to watch or listen?
Yeah. And also, if you think, which is very reasonable and which is like very useful as well, because those scenarios, really exist. So the scenarios, when you drive or when you commute, when you take for a walk, walking a dog, when you're doing exercise, when you're doing chores, those scenarios, you cannot look at your screen. For those scenarios, audio will be the only way you can access information, anywhere and whenever and wherever. So that's why I think based on the three items I just mentioned, and based on the scenarios really exist for audio. So I think that would be a very possible way. Maybe within 2 years or 3 years, people, totally changing the way people engage with information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes so much sense. All right, Renee. So as we're approaching the end of this podcast, I wanted to ask you to share your biggest advice, your most important advice to beginner entrepreneurs, someone who, is launching an online business or thinking of starting an app or doing any kind of business, and they haven't done that previously. What is that one thing they should pay the most attention to, in your opinion?
You mean for the very beginners, right? Who just started
for someone who just started a business, or even for someone who's just thinking of it. He hasn't started yet. They're just, getting ready to do something.
Yeah, I think the biggest, the biggest advice I can give is never give up. Never give up. For me, the same. When I just launched a business, it's really, really extremely hard. I can imagine back to 3 years ago. I work at the office until midnight every day, including weekends, including the holidays, like until 1 or 2 a.m. every day. And it's really hard to making money, and it's really hard to invest money, and it's really hard to, convince the other people to join us to work together with that, to work together with me. But things continually get better. But if 3 years ago I gave up when I met problem, when I met questions, when I feel like, oh, this is too hard, I cannot afford that, it will not, go to today. So yeah, I think that, but things will resolve. Once you decide you want to hold on, you want to insist. So never give up, and time will resolve everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
And before you go, where can people go to find more about you, about your company, and about CastBox?
Okay, I think the best way, I think we have a website, CastBox.fm, and you can find all the information about CastBox. And for me, I think people can simply email me, and my email is renee.wang@castbox.fm. So, I basically check my email and every day. And if people has questions, you can just simply send an email to me, and I will try my best to help and to give some advice or give some suggestions. Yeah.
Okay, Renee. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your advice as well, and the story of your company.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. As always, head over to extrapodcast.com/165. This is where I'll be putting up show notes page for today's episode. Also, head over to extrapodcast.com/YouTube in order to subscribe to the show on YouTube, as well as extrapodcast.com/Spotify in order to follow the show on Spotify. Thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Monday.